Yes, I'm wearing sunglasses at night time. Just my eyes are a wee bit sensitive, you know. I'm not trying to redo the Blues Brothers. Mind you, if the Blues Brothers was done today, it would be like the Blues Sisters, you know. I mean, everything is getting changed. There's tissues called man size, right? And they're talking about that getting changed because it's sexist. Because it's man size. What is man size? And it is just trying to say, you know, because men are normally taller or bigger or whatever. So anyway, on to the subject at hand. And I'm still at this point. I've not decided what to call this video. So before I go on, okay, and bring out some weird scenarios and weird ideas, I believe in equality. Right? I've said it many times in my videos, right? So whatever I say today, right, I prefer when it comes to women and men, everybody should have, you know, equality, equal. Right? But with everything happening just now, when it comes to movies, media, press, products, you name it, comedians, it seems that men are the joke, right? It's more favourable to laugh at men and than it is for women. And when we're talking about laughing, how many female comedians are there in the world? Right? Now I know there's some, right? How good are they compared to man? Right? To the male. Yeah, now I've always said, and even my partner, the missus, right, has said, and I watch a program on Amazon called The Marvelous Miss Mazel, and she plays this woman. She just won a Globe thing, and she won a Globe for playing it. And what she is in the TV show is a stand-up comedian, especially at a time when that was unfavourable to be a female in that kind of work. And it's very hard to look at, you know, America, and I think it's around about in the 1950s, and women are not allowed to say anything to do with their parts or anything like that. So yeah, it's very, you know, you couldn't get away with stuff that was done in the 70s, right? When Richard Pryor and all that stuff started coming out, and Eddie Murphy and umpteen other comedians, and how they've addressed comedy. So things were different back then. But why has there not been many female comedians? And that's a good question, and I don't have an answer for that. And just like sometimes I think, you know, there's many cultures around the world that don't necessarily make, say, great singers, right? There's not many Chinese people that are in the charts, you know, because of the voice. It's because of the culture. It's because where they come from. So there's not many Chinese artists in the charts just now. So it all stems maybe from where you come from and stuff like that. It's sort of vocal range. But going back to the comedian, maybe it's because men have been they've been pushing down their feelings for quite a bit, you know, and when they go onto stage, they've got the balls to come out and say these things, and women can do it, but men, especially if you look at Glasgow and Britain, and their sense of humour is and probably people from New York or stuff, and we have sarcasm, and there's a lot of people in America that don't get sarcasm. Okay, but we take the piss out of ourselves, and when we give a compliment, it can be very sarky, but it's calling your mate a bad name, but it's friendly with it. And we can do that, but women tend not to be that way when it comes to their friends. We men tend to sort of rib each other and slag, ridicule each other because because they're pals. Women tend not to do that because they tend to be bitchy, and maybe that's that reason and many other reasons like it why there isn't many female comedians. So we look back in the past, right? We look back in the dark ages, right, when men were somehow superior. But when we look at these TV programs, right, now I know they're dramas, right? I know they're dramas. Things like Poldark, and if you haven't seen Poldark, check it out. And it's came out at a time when women were again second place, right? Men ruled the roost. But here comes Poldark, a man of every day where, he sees equality in women. And I like to think that men throughout the years, I like that we're not all brushed with the same stick, paintbrush or whatever. But it's the society that controls us, right? It's the society that puts women and men in the particular roles. I mean, we all grow up innocently, but because the society deems that men should go to war, women can't. It's not the individual's choice. They've been brought up in a world that does that, and then you've got shows like films like Mary Poppins, right? Now, when you watch Mary Poppins, there's a woman in it, and in the original Mary Poppins, she's fighting for the suffragettes, right, which is women equal rights. It started off in Britain, and she's not really involved with the kids, and nearly as the father. Really, it's all down to the nannies, right? And you see that in other films like Christopher Robin and stuff like that, where parents are hardly involved. But when you go on this journey, you find out that the father is learning the lesson, and he's trying to break the mould of what a father should be to his kids. And that again is repeated years later with Mary Poppins 2. And it's the father, and he's worried about the house, and he's meant to be the supporter, and that's the thing. Men and comedians like Robin Williams, right, and everybody, men have had it bad as well, because they've been given these roles to play in society. They've been given these roles where they have to be the provider, where they've got to go out and work, and they cannot show any fear or any tears. They've got to man up. And the pressures that put on men on that, unable to provide. And men got to go up to the woman's father to prove that he's worthy to ask his wife. He's got to, because I was watching this in the Marvelous Mazel and stuff, so he's got to provide evidence that he's okay to marry his daughter, and he could have a penniless job. And you see, and by the way, I watched on Netflix is Anna C. That's about a wee girl going to school. I watched that, so I'm close, and that the lead star in that Anna of Green Gables or something like that. I watched that and I quite enjoy it, and girls are female and stuff like that, right? So, but that's manly, and men are not meant to watch that, Now, Robin Williams committed suicide in a way, and he used humour to defend himself. He used what men do, is we use humour to deflect bullets, to deflect the hurt that we're seeing, and that everything's okay. Women have got this mechanism where they can talk more openly about it, but men have got this thing where, now it may be different in other cultures, right, but men have got all this pressure as well, and it's not just women, right? And when we're talking about relationships with men and women, really, who owns the relationship? And I can tell, and I can probably, going with this experience, women have always had the upper hand all throughout time when it comes to relationships. They run the house, they run the man, because they own the Holy Grail, okay? And nobody gets to the Holy Grail unless they say so. And then you've got everything that's, and my heart goes out to women that go through that monthly thing that happens to them, or they go through the menopause and stuff. But again, I know it's not equivalent, but men must then, because some men don't understand that, they've got to go with the female's feelings of the highs and the lows, and they've got to distance themselves and not be, you know, and it's a lot of pressure to be put on man. And here's another thing, right now, statistically speaking, there are more male men committing suicide than women. Now, is that because of the pressure of life, of not being able to open up one's feelings? See, if I was to sit here and cry or thing with to the boss, and we have this mental health visitor that comes around their work now, okay, because men are more likely to be stressing, because we put all this pressure onto us, and we're not man because we're letting the feelings out. And now, so atop of all that's going on, we have this society now that seems to state that women have been underfoot. Women have never really truly been underfoot. Now, don't get me wrong, I know in the history of the books and the way they've been treated they are, but really in relationships, when it comes to men, there was a drama, and again, it's a drama, it was on Sky, can't remember what it's called, but it's about the first settlers in America. And so the first settlers go over from Britain and stuff like that, and they make this camp in America. And they've got to ship over some women because they need to populate and keep, you know, and make babies so the community can get bigger. But when you look at the women in that camp, you know, and one particular, she's got things planned, you know, she's controlling things and manipulating things, and the other woman who's married a drunk, she's taking a stance, and they're actually manipulating the men into doing things their way. So it's always been that way. Now again, that's not history book, that's not fact, but I do believe that's happened. Cleopatra, okay, ruled Egypt, got men to do what they wanted. Helen of Troy launched men went to war over her. So again, you know, women manipulated men. And it's just, and there's serial killers that have been women. There have been, Margaret Thatcher's been in charge. There is a queen, you know, of Great Britain. There's still to be a female president in the United States, but really, who, you know, in a couple, you know, the president, who really has the president's ear? The woman. Because men need to try to coexist alongside the women. And I'm coming from experience, you know, the best thing to do is to not say a word and just agree. Okay, so even in a relationship, you know, the man for an easy life does what the woman says. But atop of all that, we have this feminist agenda coming out. Now, granted, there is women coming on board and they're saying we need women directors, we need women this and we need women that on the TV. But then again, there's no stopping the women from achieving that, from going into that sort of profession. And rightfully so, I don't know the process of a woman becoming a producer or a director or anything like that, but I presume they go to school just like anybody else and they have a qualifications. I don't believe for 1 minute there's a thing that you have to be a male to be a director, because we just had one that we've had a few female directors. But it's just the procession of are women interested in doing that sort of work. We look at welders, right? And the work that I do, I've seen women become apprentices doing manly stuff, you know, doing welding and doing electrician and sparks and mechanics and stuff like that. Well, see in my work, see once some of the women have got their qualifications, they don't stick to that job very long. What they do is they then take the qualifications and then start working in an office where they don't have to get dirty and they don't have to do this and that's that. But that's what they do. It's, you know, and then you have to get. Then there's another girl that's, you know, becomes pregnant and then she takes so many years off and she then starts working in office and stuff, and it's just everything is now catered for the women. We have a Gillette advert now that's going about that it's kind of highlighting men, bad men, right, who somehow shun women, and the Gillette thing is saying, is this the best a man can be, or something like that, or a man can get, whatever. And I says, well, you're highlighting stuff, that's not the majority, that's actually, you know, you're being, you know, you're actually becoming the enemy by making adverts like that. You know, you're becoming that feminist. You're becoming, you to make an advert like that, you're actually, you know, you're the guilty party, because you're doing exactly what you're trying to fight against. Because let's face facts, right? Apart from we all hear news about women getting beaten up, okay? We all hear the news about that. But do you know what we hardly hear of? Men getting beaten up, men being psychically abused. Why? Because the shame of a man coming out and saying that, the shame of a man saying he's been raped and everything else like that. So men tend to, because of the way we built, because the society tells men to do, they keep it under wraps, they keep it a secret. I bet you if men had changed, right, if this society keeps on going the way we are, right, with all these Gillette adverts saying that we're all women haters and everything else and we can be better. We're already better, but you're highlighting small fractions of our sex. Right, we're not. How would you like it if we get a video of saying, here is a woman that doesn't look after her kids, that fathers should have equal rights over the children because their mother's either on drugs and stuff like that, or the mother doesn't care. Because not every woman has the maternal instinct to look after their kids. Now, you always point the finger to the fathers to blame, and that the kids should go to the mothers. Right? And I know in history women didn't have a choice, the kids would go to the men, but right now this has changed days, and we should accept that men can just be as good looking after kids than women. Gay couples, 2 men can bring up a kid much better than a man and a female and stuff like that, okay? But we shouldn't highlight the case, because it's speaking about minority. There's probably a 15% minority out there of feminists. We hear stories, as I made in the last video, about this woman from the Ghostbusters stating that you're a sexist because you wanted the original people from the Ghostbusters. So no matter what we do, right, no matter what we want, it will become sexist. So really, men have got it really bad, and women are really have become the abusers to men, or maybe they've always been the abusers or the manipulators or the you know, the one that's controlling things behind the scenes and stuff like that. So we shouldn't. Oh God, I can probably think there's so. There are so many things just now that you know, you get Kathleen Kennedy as well destroying the Star Wars stuff because she had this agenda by pushing women forward. But I know that there's girls out there like me that are sick of this hypocrisy of feminists. There is a way of producing movies right now. I mean, we look at the cinema just now, it's full of women being the lead roles. There's a story out just now with her from Pirates of the Caribbean and how she has now got, she wants her name in front of the book instead of her husband's name because she does all the work. Right? I mean, that is a fantastic story. But see, right now, because it's happening just now, we just feel like it's again another attack against males. If it came out maybe a couple of years ago, without all this feminist, we would have went and seen it without thinking that this is just another attack. Am I being paranoid? Am I? That these films are coming to light now? Are the films getting all these appraisals because it's a women story? I don't. Don't know. Doctor Who. You know, the female doctor. That's the whole show now. Nobody wants to watch. Because of their pushing all these issues, the fact that she's a woman. But we don't need that. We don't need to issue that because she's a lesbian or because she's a one's a handicapped or one. We don't need to know. You know, I'm not. As I say, I said that wrongly, so I apologise. Right. All I'm saying is, don't make a big deal with the fact that a person or a character is a certain gender, and just concentrate on the story more, and then that person gets respected. But unfortunately, they're making too much of an issue because of the sex of the main character of a film, and that is just wrong. You know, we shouldn't celebrate that the lead actor of any movie is male or female or whatever, right? That shouldn't be the sole purpose or the main character in an all black film like Black Panther. We shouldn't make an issue that the fact that he's black, because it shouldn't be an issue. And we shouldn't give awards to these films or stars because of the race or sex of a character. But right now we are facing a troubling time for males, for men. Everywhere we look, we are put down either by comedians or by the movies that are coming out, by adverts. Sex toys, okay, sex toys. When you think about sex toys, look what men get compared to what women get. Right? Look at the different amount of ranges that women can get for sex compared to men. Right? Who's getting the better deal? Okay? And that's who gets the better deal out of the two when the action is taking place? Who's getting the better deal? You know, And then talking about that, men are under that mental stress when they get older about performance. And it's out of their control. And in order to perform well, it's got to be a mental state. But right now, with everything going on with sexism and stuff like that, men are probably not up for the task because we're already being put down socially or on the net, or we're looking at things, Wonder Woman, first female superhero, this and that stuff. We're constantly looked as the villain. Now you could probably say it's about time that men has done, but you're talking to the wrong generation. You're talking to men that have changed. We have moved on. There shouldn't be any reason to have suffragettes walking the streets today. There shouldn't be any reason to have any sort of group needing to give voice, because we should all be accepting of one another. So, and as I'm going back to what I originally said, men have got so much pressure put on them on how to act and what they should be doing to be a man. And right now, that is getting attacked constantly, where we don't know what it is now to be a man. We cannot make jokes about how the wife runs our life or anything like that, because it can be deemed in a negative way. This video can be deemed in a negative way. Men are screwed right now, and all I want is for men and women to be treated the same. That's all I've got to say. That's my truth. Let's just hope that this ends soon, and we have a society where none of this stuff is as important. I thought about what I should be saying in this video for so long, but when you sit down and you talk about it earlier on, that's a good point, but it's all been said before. So that's my truth. Check out these links. Let us know what you think. And as I say, let's all be equal. There's no greater sex, male or female. So let's not act upon it. Okay? Let's not highlight, what you're meant to be trying to do. Let's not highlight the women movement or the men movement. Otherwise, if you do, men will need to retaliate to get some self-respect. Men will be wearing t-shirts, down with feminism, up for the men, and we shouldn't be doing that. You're splitting the sexes as much now, Anyway, that's my truth. DC Vigilante out.